What is up, guys? How we all doing? Today I thought I would just make a little video for you. Now, of course, those of you that are aware, through the TikTok live streams and stuff like that, I get a lot of questions, especially from new players. Not just new players, but people that are kind of trapped around the level 50 to 70 mark, and they're not really sure what to do. Um, Lots of questions, lots of people asking for some beginner tips. So today in this video, I'm literally just going to go over some of the basic things, maybe some of the things which you can do sort of mid game as well. But yeah, of course, like I say, I'm going to try my absolute best not to forget anything. This is the first time doing this, so I'm going to try and cram as much as I can into this video without having to make several different videos. So, you've just started out. You're at Lone Star Lake. You're not too sure what to do. Things are a little bit overwhelming. You don't know what gear to buy. You don't know what to fish for. All of that kind of stuff. Now, as a new player, the one thing that you really, really need to pay attention to more than anything is your keep net. Because your keep net is going to be the one thing which is going to hinder you in a lot of places. So at the beginning, I would say don't waste your money going back and forth to places and stuff like that, and essentially bankrupting yourself. Use what the game gives you at the beginning. Use what the game gives you. Now, I feel that before you get started anywhere, a lot of people ask, like, how do I equip the new rods? How do I do this and how I do that? So when you go to your inventory, you'll see a little person icon right there. In here, this is where you assign your boats, your tackle boxes, your keep nets, all of that sort of stuff, your clothing and your rod cases. Now, a lot of people say, well, how do I, I've only got one or two rod slots open. How do I unlock the rest? This is basically just down to your rod case. You can buy new rod cases in the shop under tools and equipment. You go to rod cases. You're able to see that, in the description that you can add, they add more slots available to you. And you notice that the numbers change. I think 7 is the maximum that you can have. Yeah, 7. So if you're interested or wondering why or how to, to equip more rods as you go, then that's definitely what you want to do or something you want to aim for. The same thing as well with your keep nets and stuff like that. Yet again, it is under keep net. You want to be upgrading this as early on as possible, to be honest, because it'll help you in the longer run. It'll increase the maximum weight of a fish that you can catch, but not only that as well, it'll allow you to obviously hold more fish. Now, don't let this fool you, because of what a lot of people do is they go, I don't know, from Lone Star, and then they'll go to somewhere like Rocky Lake. And when they're at Rocky Lake, they think that they have to leave in order to empty their keep net. And you do not need to do that. If you forward the time, so I will demonstrate it to you. But before I do that, before you go to any place of fishing, have a look at the fish species list. Now in here, it's going to give you a rundown. It also even tells you, the weights that you're looking at, the weights that you're dealing with, which can help you when it comes to assembling a rod. Now, of course, if you use things that are too overpowered, it's going to affect you negatively in your XP. So this is where the tackle modifiers come in. And I'll explain that a little bit more in detail in a minute. But you can see here that you've got your preferred baits and your preferred lures. So before you go to a place of fishing, have a look at these things. Take a variety with you. Now, people say, well, what hook sizes do I use? Now you gotta really like sort of think about it. You know, these are small fish, so they're not going to be going for massive hooks. You know, they're going to be going for relatively small hooks. So keep that in mind as well. Whatever hooks that you use for your preferred bait, so you're probably looking at the ranges of like maybe 16 to size 1, maybe a 1/0 in some places in the early days. And then you're like, well, what do I buy in terms? What sizes do I buy in terms of nano and all this sort of stuff? It's basically the same hook sizes that you would get for you know, for your float fishing and all that kind of stuff. Um, when it comes down to the lure weights and stuff like that as well. So I'll give you a little bit of a rundown here. So these two things, lure weight and line weight, are two of the things that you need to pay particular attention to. So your lure weight, when you're looking at buying a lure, you know, and all that kind of stuff, and then you look at the grams, you'll notice that this Walker is 14 grams. Okay, so that is my limit because it's 3 to 14 grams. So because it's on the cuff, it's actually going to cast quite decently. The closer you get to the smaller number, the shorter the cast is going to be theoretically. So pay attention to lure weights and stuff like that. And this is applicable across the board in so many ways because then you're trying to find lures ranges in different sizes, but they're obviously the same weights. So you'll find yourself having a couple of rods, which initially do the same thing except allow you to you know, allow you to have those bigger lures on. Now, what I like doing, I absolutely love this river spear because the lure weight is 3 to 14 grams and the line weight is 12 to 26 kilos. That gives you a wide range from lures to jigging to all of that kind of stuff. And that's ideally what you want to do. You want to try and find a rod and reel setup that's going to give you a range. So instead of taking like 4 or 5 rods out to essentially do the same thing, this one rod in particular is going to allow me to have a wide range of all different hook sizes and all different lure shapes and sizes. You know what I mean. So that's ideally what you want to be looking for. Same thing as well with your lines and your leaders. Now, ideally, you would look at the max drag on the reel. So you can see mine is 25.5, right? And a lot of people get confused by this. All you need to do is it's like a numbers game. You just match it as close as you can. Now, I know a few of you experienced fishermen out there, you're already going to know this, but I'm kind of tailoring this more to somebody that has just started playing the game and they don't really know how to get their head around it. So you can see then that the line weight is a maximum of 26 kg. So the closest that I could get was 24. And then when I go to my leader, I try and get the it as close as I can. Now, obviously, that is a little bit over. It doesn't really matter too much, but you want to try and get these numbers as close as you can together. Same thing as well. If you're going to go and fish anything with teeth, make sure that you put a titanium leader on. Now, what I've just stated there in that setup, that's universal. You apply that logic to any type of rod and reel that you're using, whether it be a feeder rod, bottom rod, match rod, it doesn't matter. When it comes down to the bottom rods and stuff like that, I mean, I'll show you. So yet again, it's all about casting weight and line weight. So, you know, when you're looking at a sinker, all that kind of stuff, I know that I can go from the ranges of 50 to 450 grams, and I've got a 375 gram one on there. So it's about balancing it. You know, as long as you don't exceed the casting weight of your rod, you'll be absolutely fine. And what I just said previously with lines and leaders, you try and match it up as close as you can. You see, like my reel says 89 kg max drag, and then I've got a line which has got a test of 88. You're just trying to get these numbers as close as you can together. That's the important part. Now, as far as what rods should I buy early on, Typically, I would suggest only using what the game gives you until you start unlocking some relatively decent stuff. Um, I think it's usually around the margins between sort of like, I would say like level 18 to level 20, you start unlocking some better equipment. Um, but I would advise you not to spend money on things that you don't have or don't need per se. Like I say, just use what works, use what's providing you and producing you fish, until you get to say Emerald Lake. Then you'll be fishing the walleyes, and then you'll be jumping on that grind like a lot of people do. But for instance, we go to Lone Star Lake. Another thing as well before we go, actually, you got any spare bait coins laying around? And you got some of these starter lakes. You want to create yourself a bit of a safety net. Now, what I mean by that is, if you say, for instance, I don't know, you hone in on a place like Emerald Lake, yeah, and then you get your advanced licenses. I would strongly recommend, like, pick an early map that you know that produces you fish that is consistent for you, and then buy the advanced license outright, because by doing that, you've essentially created yourself a safety net, so you don't have to worry about the money, buying the advanced license, etc. And when you're starting off, every little helps. You want to try and save as much money as you can. So yeah, we'll go to Lone Star real quickly, just to give you an understanding. So here, a lot of people for the beginning, you want to be targeting things like, the bass. These pickerels as well, they're nice. The buffaloes are cool as well. Like I say, if people want it, I will make an extensive video after this explaining like how you can catch these fish and all that sort of stuff. But there's so many videos out there that, it don't take 2 minutes to look one up. So if we go, doesn't really matter per se, but if we go into the place of fishing, this is one thing which you're going to have to pay particular attention to. So you get here, for instance, you've thrown your rod out, you don't know what's going on, you don't know where to fish, you don't know what to do. Okay, so this is where you go back to your fish species list and you just start running down basically the list as you go, and time of day will matter. All these things do matter. Some fish come out at night, some during the day. It's just a matter of timings. Now, if you go to your timings, you're going to get this. You're going to get this. So this is essentially a water level. Yeah. So this will be your peak time. So when you're fishing within your peak times, typically your bite rate is going to be, a lot better than what it would be down here. Now you can fish during the day, you can fish during the night, blah, blah, blah. But, okay, so you're in a situation now, you keep nets full. A lot of people, they leave. You don't need to do that. You can actually go to time and forward to next morning. And you notice that it empties your keep net for you, but the license will be significantly cheaper, and you can extend it. So it saves you having to go back all the time, and a lot of people do this. This is where you're going to lose a lot of your cash, going back and forward between places. Just don't do it. In the early days, just don't do it. Use what the game provides you and just fish it out. It is a grind. It is a grovel. It is going to take some serious time. Don't forget, this is a free-to-play game, so, there are ways of making money. You got to think about it logically. Not only that, but like I say, the fish species is definitely where you want to be. It's definitely what you want to look at, because it gives you, like I say, it gives you an idea of where you should go and what you should be doing. So if we leave here, I'll just go over a couple of my setups that I have. hopefully this helps a few people out. I'm not too sure if it's gonna, but I'm just trying my best to just to help out. But like I say as well, when you go to a place of fishing, just take a variety of stuff with you. If you buy a pack, take everything that the pack gives you. These are the things that you need to be doing. You've got your templates as well. So when you buy packs, all of your templates will be in here. So they're already pre-built. And you can also save an existing template as well. So yeah, this is one of the setups that I use. There's a few, but this is what I mean. This is what you want to do. You want to try and put some rods and reels together that are going to help you in the longer run. The same thing, we're bringing out spares as well, leaders and hooks. You just gotta have a variety with you. Now, luckily enough, you've got your missions. We've now got our dailies. So a lot of people ask, how do you get your club tokens and all that sort of stuff? If you're in a club, this is one way of getting your club tokens. And the XP and the bait coins that you get from doing these challenges. If you're a new player, pay attention to these things, because these things are going to help you out tremendously in the longer run. Especially if you're playing with premium, you can regenerate it for free, all that kind of stuff. Then you've got your exploring missions. Definitely do these exploring missions, because as you can see, for rewards, you're getting bait coins and money. Not only that, but you're also getting a piece of equipment as well. So there's a lot of things early game, which give you some really cool things. Like you get your floats and all that sort of stuff, your lines. So theoretically, early on, you don't really need to buy an awful lot, because you've got to think of how long these things are going to last you. But go through these. Try and complete these. Try and get your try and knock these off the list one by one. Same with the mastering as well. There's so much XP and bait coins and money to be had, And I understand that people are gonna, they're gonna find it difficult, and I can appreciate that, because the early game is groveling. It doesn't get much better end game either, to be honest with you. But it is something that you really should pay attention to, because there are a lot of good rewards, a lot of good XP to be earned. And if you're in a pinch, and you're wondering what to do and where to go, set yourself a goal. Because if you set yourself a goal in these places, like, for instance, Lone Star or anywhere like that on your exploring missions, if you set yourself a goal, you're less likely to get complicated or confused with the gear that you have. And when you hone in on one map, and that that map is producing, it's consistent, that is where you're going to be making a bulk of your money. Now, I know a lot of people, and I'll try and give this a quick rundown as best as I can. But typically, the starting areas, I would say just do what you can until you unlock Emerald Lake. Now, at Emerald Lake, you'll jump on the walleye grind. Very good for money and XP at a low level. And I think it's only level 8. Yeah, only level 8. So that's ideally where you want to be. Now, a lot of people say, oh, you can sit here and you can stay there until level 31. That's entirely up to you. But I'd be going to places like the Everglades and stuff like that. Just trying to spice it up a bit, so you don't burn yourself out, because that is the biggest issue on this, is burning yourself out. But yeah, typically, and then when you obviously get to like places like level 31 to about 40, you'll be going here, St. Croix or whatever it is, St. Croix Lake, St. Croix Lake, whatever, however you pronounce it. I like using feeder and casting here. You can use top water stuff, but your main species of fish that you're going to be targeting here, it's definitely going to be your pikes and your muskies, 100%. And a lot of people do that. I mean, you're only looking, you're only looking at the ranges of about level 31 to 40. But like I say, that is completely up to you if you stay there or not. Um, what was the other one? And then you've got the San Delta, Joe Queen Delta. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. Probably completely butchered it. This is from like levels 40 to 50. Yet again, a lot of people use bottom setups. The fish that you're going to be looking at, it's your carps, it's your sturgeons. A lot of people jump on the sturgeon grind, um, you know, but I like, like I say, the sturgeons and the carps definitely give you a nice decent amount of XP, nice decent amount of money, especially the trophies and the uniques. It's going to take a while, the bite rate's going to change, but if you pay attention to, your weather forecast and your peak times and all of that kind of stuff, you can maximize your efficiency. The same thing as well when you go to a place of fishing and you open your map, you know, um, you can put down markers, the green markers and things like that. Those green markers, if you catch a unique, put one down, because when you hover over that marker, it's going to give you all the information you need so you don't forget, and it'll show you what fish you've caught, what bait used, and at what time of the day that you caught it. So that's something that you should really pay attention to more than anything. I am skimming over this, um, you know, quite quickly. Like I say, I will make some more videos if people want that. What's next? I suppose we should look at. So we've done level 40 to 50. Now it's getting on to what you should do after that. Now, a lot of people, they go to Weeping Willows, they do the carp fishing, all that kind of stuff. I mean, you could you could wait until you get to like I'd say level 63 to 68. You go to like places like Marin River. In those places at like Marin River, you want to be looking at your catfish. I would say definitely your catfish, your gilded catfish, and your red tail catfish. That's what I did anyway. Bottom rods, using a setup, relatively between sort of 20 and 30 kilos, something like that. That's kind of the idea of what you want to do. I stayed here until level 68. So hopefully that gives somebody a little bit of an idea of what to do. But yet again, all the information that I previously explained, it's universal. You do the same thing for every map. And then from obviously Marin River, when you get to like, level 68, Amazonian Maze is where you want to go. Bit of a tricky map, this one. But my favorite fish that I fished for here was definitely the bull sharks and the electric eels. Same thing again, about 9 to 10 kilos for the eels, probably around about 30 kilos for the shark. If you can do more, then do more by all means. But there's loads of tips and tricks as well, like your tackle, and stuff like that. If you can get yourself some barbless, hooks and spinners and things like that, that's gonna help with your tackle, your XP modifier. So you'll notice that when you catch a fish, a lot of people don't understand what it means or how to improve it. Basically, it's just using the appropriate equipment for the fish that you're catching. If you're going to use big equipment to catch small fish, then you're not going to catch as much XP as what you would if you was using a rod and reel suitable for the fish that you're going for. The same thing with the hooks as well. Barbless will give you that that little bit extra when it comes down to grafting and making that XP. But yeah, I think that's pretty. I mean, there's only so much I can really go over, to be honest. Like I say, just all the info that I've given you, it doesn't really necessarily matter what rod and reel you buy. There's no right way or wrong way of doing it. it's just paying attention, like I say, to these little details. It's the ranges between these things, the line weights and the lure weights and all that kind of stuff. It's just something that you will grow accustomed to. You know, don't get overwhelmed. Don't give up. Use that knowledge that I've given you to your advantage. And apply it and try and catch as many fish as you can. It's what you want. Consistency more than anything. Um, the same way if you want to progress. Like I say to a lot of people, like they go, well, which ocean map should I buy? Which ocean DLC should I buy? It's all subjective. It's all subjective. If you can get them at a discount, get them at a discount. You know, and even if you don't want to buy anything, and for instance you find yourself at a place of fishing, like you've unlocked it from the level, and you're not sure what lures and spinners and all that kind of stuff to use, you can use these packs to your advantage just from the information you get from them alone. One thing that I like to do, say for instance you've just unlocked blue crab, I'll use this as an example. You go to the Bass Explorer pack, you'll notice it says for blue crab. And if you're not sure what to use, and you've got to this level without purchasing it or getting it early, it gives you an idea of the rigs that you can use, the soft baits, the lures, all of that kind of stuff. It is basically giving you that information, and that's pretty much applicable wherever you go. Say for instance, you've just bought one of these ocean packs, same thing again. What do I take? Well, you take as much of this as you can when you're going. Like I say, it's just experimenting. That's all you need to do. Experimentation is part of it. It's why we call it fishing and not catching. But definitely use this to your advantage. The same way in the shop as well. When you're at a place of fishing and you click on the shop, it can kind of give you a little bit of an idea as well. Now, a lot of people have been asking, what DLC do I actually recommend for value for money? Now, if it was me, and I have purchased this, when you go down to boat packs, value for money, the Dip Nero Delta pack is by far probably one of the better DLCs out there in terms of value for money, because you get a nice trolling boat which you can use on any map besides the ocean maps. Okay, and it gives you a bunch of stuff, value for money. For the price, you really can't complain. I think you only need to be level 46 to fish here anyway, and I think there's over 80 something species of fish here, or 80 fish to catch. Could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it is close to that. Value for money, get a boat, get some decent rods and reels. You can't really go wrong. And of course, the ocean map, which one do you buy? Any of them really. They're all worth it in their own ways. It just depends on how much money you're willing to spend. But truthfully, you need to just calculate what level you are, how long you're going to plan on fishing, because you've got to understand that you need to get to the required level by the time that those pond passes expire. And obviously keep in mind as well that the tackle that you get given in these packs as well, you won't be the right level to replace. So keep that in mind when you buy any ocean DLC, really. I mean, if anyone's thinking about buying an ocean DLC and they're thinking about just getting into it and making a little bit of money, maybe paving the way for another place, other maps. You don't want to chuck big money at these sorts of things. One of the packs which I will recommend on the ocean DLCs is the Sailor Collection pack. 1675 gives you a week to fish here. Within a week, you'll be a multi-millionaire. And you probably will never have to worry about money again. But there you go. That's all it comes down to. But like I say, enjoy it. Take your time. Appreciate it for what it is. Because trust me, I understand a lot of people want money. But when it comes down to it, Towards the end, you really do run out of things to buy. It's two ends of the spectrum, really. At the beginning, you really want money to buy better gear and better equipment. And then when you get to the end, you've made so much money, you don't know what to do with yourself. So take your time with it. Like I say to all those new players as well, if you've got any questions, feel free to drop a comment, and I'll try and help you out as best as I can. But I hope that was informative for you guys anyway. Like I say, I think I've skimmed over a few bits and pieces. But yeah, all in all, like I say, guys, thank you very much for watching. Do appreciate it. And yeah, hopefully I'll catch you in the next one. Tight lines all. You all take it easy, stay safe, and have a good one.